My name is Father Ray Schroth. I'm an associate editor here. I'm sort of a new man at America. I've been here just about a month, although I did work here many years ago. We're going to talk today for just a couple of minutes about getting out of Afghanistan. Our board in our discussion has become convinced that the deadline that was originally set in an agreement between President Obama and General Petraeus, when General Petraeus was put in charge, that next summer would really be the date, not of a symbolic pullout, but of the actual deployment of our combat forces from Afghanistan. And we came to this for several reasons. One was a reaction to some of the coverage that the crisis was getting. You may recall a couple of weeks ago, Time magazine had a cover of a young Afghan woman whose nose had, and also her ears, had been cut off. And there was a caption that this is what happens if we leave Afghanistan. And I'm sure it was a bit of an emotional pressure on the readership to say, aha, we can't ever get out because this is something we can't leave until we've solved this problem. So we had to give that a little thought and look into it. For instance, the Taliban did not do that to her. It was her father-in-law who was angry that she had deserted the family, right? But there were other atrocities on the part of the Taliban, or they killed some Christian service workers. And a woman was stoned to death. But the problem is, the solution to a situation like that is not to escalate a war. It's an international, humanitarian, lifestyle, cultural issue that's very complex, and we've had over 100,000 troops there for a long while, and they have not been able to re-educate the violent instincts of some of the people in these local people in these tribes. So we wanted to try to get a more broader and more rational approach to this. And one way of doing it is through the just war theory. It goes back to St. Thomas Aquinas and St. Augustine, but it's not a religious concept uniquely. It's accepted as international law and by philosophers and theologians of all types. And it goes that we have a right to defend ourselves when we are attacked. That's the proper use of violence. But we may use only that violence which is necessary to achieve the goal of saving our own lives or protecting ourselves or our own interests, right? And anything beyond that is illegitimate. And second, another reason is that there must be a foreseeable, successful conclusion to the enterprise. Now, on both of these criteria, Afghanistan is shaky. It's self-defense in the sense that the Taliban at the time of 9/11, right, harbored al-Qaeda, those members who were responsible for the attack on the World Trade Center. But those men were not from Afghanistan, they were Arabs from other countries. So, second, the civilian casualties are becoming much too high. 2/3 of those casualties are caused by the Taliban, by the insurgents. But that 1/3 is very much held against us by the local populace. They believe the cause of the deaths is the presence of foreigners in their towns and in their soil. So these are just a couple of the ideas that if you read the editorials, I'm saying this to sort of to bring you into the issue and get you to the end where we try to argue for the type of negotiations, the type of international sanctions or cooperation that will be necessary to resolve it in the long run. And after you read it, we'd be glad to hear from you. Thank you.